Video games. What started out as two paddlers hitting a pixelated ball back and forth has evolved into a plethora of lifelike action experiences where anything is possible. Video games have steadily become part of our mainstream culture. But as their popularity has grown, so too have the number of violent incidents in which games have reportedly been the source of this violent behaviour. So, can violent games really inspire people to behave violently? I asked some members of the public what they thought.
No, I don't. No. I think you've got to be a violent person to begin with to act violently.
I think you're capable of sort of making your own decisions and knowing what's right and what's wrong, and you know, it's fine for the person who is suited for that game to be playing it.
I know that bad things do happen in the world, but I don't necessarily think that all of that is just related to people seeing these kind of things in video games.
It is clear the impressionable people of this era have become brainwashed and desensitised to this insidious and infectious medium. To find out why video games are corrupting people, I've spoken to individuals who have suffered in the past.
This is Tom Robertson, a student who plays a game called Guitar Hero on a regular basis. So Tom, what exactly is Guitar Hero?
It's a game where you have a controller shaped like a guitar and you play along to songs on screen.
Ah yes, I think I've seen that. Do you play the real guitar too?
Well, I didn't used to actually, but after playing a lot of Guitar Hero, I thought I'd give it a go. So I bought a guitar and I play it now and then.
Ah, so playing the video game inspired you to play the real guitar?
I suppose it did in a way, yeah.
So I could quote you as saying, seeing something on a video game made you replicate it in the real world, yes? After Tom's shocking revelation, I needed to dig deeper. What does the law make of violent behaviour caused by video games? I spoke to Andy Brooke, a youth whose driving licence was revoked when the court found him guilty of recreating dangerous driving, which he'd seen on a game called Burnout Paradise. So what happened, Andy?
I was just showing off to my mates in my car, basically. I was just doing this handbrake turn around a corner and I smashed into a fence.
So where did you learn to drive like that?
Oh yeah, that was my dad. He used to take me down to this field and he'd teach me to do donuts and other stuff like that.
But your case report said you were influenced by the video driving game called Burnout Paradise.
No, see, that was my mum making stuff up for the courtroom to get me a reduced sentence, and you know, she didn't want me getting in trouble, so.
But the judge still ruled that the game was the root of your problem, did he not? That's an indisputable fact, isn't it?
Oh shit, and was this going out on TV?
Andy's story isn't even the most disturbing example of the powerful influence of video games. Tasmin Benison discovered Pac-Man, a game in which you are positively encouraged to eat as many pills as possible shortly before she started taking drugs herself.
It began just before my parents got divorced.
Did they play Pac-Man?
No. They argued a lot though, so I came to the park and I guess I just started hanging around with the wrong crowd. They just accepted me, you know, they weren't the kind of people I'd normally hang around with. Most of the time we'd go to the bowling alley and just play on the arcade game.
Ah, they had Pac-Man there?
Yeah. The guys used to do drugs. And, you know, they wanted me to try some. I tried them. It was a difficult time in my life and, you know, I'd never do that again.
So, you get into Pac-Man and it all goes downhill from there. I also spoke to Simon Anderson, a researcher at the University of Leeds. Simon has conducted extensive scientific research into whether or not video games incite violent behaviour in people. So there you have it. Our youth are increasingly unable to think for themselves, with video games literally infecting their minds. Guitar games making people play guitar, driving games making people drive irresponsibly, and pill-popping games making people take drugs. It only stands to reason. Violent video games make people violent. So, if you're thinking of buying a video game for your child, think twice. You could be filling their minds with violent thoughts and murderous intentions. I'm Ben Smith, and next week I'll be asking the question, do postmen encourage vandalism? Yes, they do.
really don't think you're very helpful to me, so I think I'm just going to have to shoot you.
Well, I'd rather you didn't. If you look at this, this is video games. This going to there, and you know, if we take this out of the equation, then I'd rather you didn't shoot me.